Hello, hello, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is part 3 of my trip to Sierra Leone. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, or you haven't watched me giving an explanation of what happened in London and what happened in Spain, all during the same trip, please go watch all of those videos. Like I said, this is part 3, so there's a part 1 and part 2 to Sierra Leone. They're both 30 minutes long, so you might need some time to watch them. Please check those out so that you can make sense of what I'm about to say now. So thanks for watching. I'm just going to jump right in. The last thing I was talking about is how much money I spent and how the exchange rate was and how interesting that was. Just as an example, every time I had to purchase something or had something, I would ask Sia, like, okay, so how much is that, or how much would that be? Because she lived in the United States for 7 years, and so she knows that the dollar, usually you could go really far in some places with the dollar. So Spain is one of those places. So when I went to Spain, I saved a lot of money because the dollar went far. The same thing in Sierra Leone. So the exchange rate while I was there was 18.8, I think, on the dollar. The dashikis I bought for my family, they're like $9. But I paid 165, something like that, 180. 180 leones equal to about $9. So that gives you a sense of like how far the dollar will go in comparison to leones. I purchased a small flag, a little sign for my desk that says "Welcome to Sierra Leone." What else? I got bracelets for people and stuff. What else? I got a lot of different things. I just brought back bunches of stuff. Also, before I left, Sia's aunt, she is a seamstress. I think I told Sia, I was like, oh, I want to have some stuff made so that I can bring some stuff home and wear it, whatever. And she asked her aunt, then went and got some fabric and stuff like that. I sent the money for it. I got a lot of clothing from her, like a lot. I had skirts, some shirts, just a bunch of stuff. I was just like blown away at how much stuff that she made based on like just things I asked her. I only asked for one thing per item. So I asked for one shirt, one skirt. She said that she made dresses, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll get some of those. She makes these sets. So in the set, there's like a bonnet, there's a hair tie, a small little pouch or whatever to keep everything in, and then something else in there too. So I bought one of those. That was all that I asked for. I came back with way more than that. Like, I came back with like 3 dresses, 2 skirts, 2 shirts, the packet itself. It's more in there too. I don't even know. I sent her the measurements ahead of time. I remember having to measure myself at least 5 times because she was like, this doesn't seem right. So I told Sia, I was like, please let her know that I'm 4'9", because the proportions to my body are not going to be the same as someone else who's a little bit taller. So you need to tell her that I'm mad short, because she's probably looking like, this don't add up. It don't add up because I'm mad short. So I think the first night we went to go try on my clothes. And then after that, we tried them on again to make sure they fit. I had bought this dashiki, but it was really big. So I had her fix that, do the sewing and the, what is the word I'm looking for? A seamstress will do alterations. I had her alter the size for that too. That was another experience that I had that was interesting, because I had stuff altered before. I've had pants altered because I'm kind of short. And if I really like a pair of pants, I'm going to pay somebody to make them shorter. I got some dashikis for myself, and my cousin had asked me to get some shirts for the family reunion, so I did that. And that was mad cool. I brought back a lot of stuff. Earrings. I got a magnet from Istanbul. I just brought back so much. So we won't go dive too much into that, but I did go to the market, and I bought a lot of stuff. Something else I experienced, mosquitoes. Bro, my God. I hate mosquitoes here in the United States. But I have to say, when I get bit here, my mosquito bites get really big because I'm allergic to mosquito bites. And I don't know what's in them, but they'll grow from this. If I don't put ointment on it when it's this small, it will get huge. And so I have to make sure that I don't let it touch anything, or it'll irritate it and it'll grow. I have to get ice so I can bring the swelling down. It's a whole thing. And so when I was there, I knew that mosquitoes were going to be a thing, but I was expecting it to be like how it is here, but it wasn't. And so I did get bit. I think I counted 25. I think that's how many bites I ended up getting. Maybe more than that, because when I left, I counted, And then I realized that I had more. They just hadn't been touched yet, and so I didn't feel them until after I got bit. I probably had more than 25, maybe like 28 or 29. But I got bit within the span. In the first 2 days, I was fine. I think it was the third day. The third day, which was the last night that I was going to spend there, they ate me up. I was like, I could do without that. Because I could do without them here. Because it's so warm during the daytime. It's not cold enough for them to like swarm like they do at night. At night, it's still warm, but it's still cold enough for them to like swarm. So Sia and her husband made sure that they kept the air conditioner on in the room so that the less mosquitoes, the better. Even though I did get bit that last night, I think something happened. I think what happened was the air conditioner wasn't as cold as the first night. Other things that happened, power outages. That was interesting. I knew that they happened because, again, I have friends from Africa. I knew that they would happen, but I guess it just happens randomly. I've been through a power outage here in the United States before, so I'm not ignorant to them. That it would just randomly happen. I'll be like, oh shit, we'll be in the middle of a conversation, the lights just go out. We're like, oh. And so, they would do what they need to do to try to go and fix it or figure it out. But I was not used to that. Let's see, other things that happened that I wasn't used to. I don't know. I'm thinking like the car thing, the driving thing, that was wild to me to begin with. The mosquito thing, they did not get big. I don't think I mentioned that. They didn't get as big as they do in the United States. They stayed small and they're just irritating. It wasn't the same experience that I get here in the States. So I was glad about that. Because when I started getting bit, I was getting really anxious because I was like, damn, I really don't want to have all these huge bumps all over me because then other people are going to be like, are you okay? Like, what happened? I'm glad that turned out to be okay because I was like, yo, this is crazy. I got to meet Sia's family. When you meet someone, you know them as they are in that environment. And this is the same thing that happened with Sia. I knew Sia, but I knew Sia as Sia, a single person. I knew Sia as Sia, not a mother. I knew Sia as Sia, like, in the United States. So we spoke English. I never met her parents. I never met her husband. I never met any of these people. So to be able to come to her home and stay with her and meet her family and meet the people that she works with, it was really great. It was a great experience because what it did was open me up to another side of somebody that's so close to me, that's close to my heart. I didn't know them in that way, and it was really nice. And same thing with her. She's never met any of my family members. We graduated the same year, but on a different day. I don't think we were on the same day. And so my family were up there on the day that I graduated. She didn't get to see them or meet them. It was really a great experience because who people spend their time around says a lot about them. Who people are closest to, it says a lot about them. And for me to be able to meet the people around her, I was like, wow. And to learn about what was going on in her life pertaining to those people. Before this, we talked a lot about the experiences that we had together. You know what I'm saying? Like all those kinds of things. How we knew each other when we met each other. But now that I've been exposed to other people in her life, she can now bring up stories about those people because I know who she's talking about. So it was a great experience to get to know her in that arena, to get to know Sia and her family. How is it like being a mom? We talked about that. As a matter of fact, that's what we were talking about. I think I talked about this in part 2 when I left the train station. Me and Sia were like, just gabbing in the car. Her mom is driving and we're just gabbing. One of the things I asked her about was like motherhood. I was like, girl, how is it? Because I don't know. She was like, it's a lot. And one of the things that we talked about is one of the hardest things about being a mom, or one of the things that you don't like about being a mom. She was like, I feel like I spend a lot of time doing that and having to like make sure that this is not going to be who I am. Like I am a person outside of this, and I just want to make sure that, that's that. And so we talked about that. It was really great to get to see her in this arena. The other thing about this is, I think Sierra Leone is like 9 hours apart from California. I gotta get my math right. I think there's a lot that is hard to do when the time zones are different. I could send a voice note right now. It's 12 something. It's probably like 9 in the morning there, 8 in the morning or something like that. She's at work. So she'll probably be able to respond to me in the next like 2 or 3 hours or something like that. but I'll probably be asleep. All that to say, it was really nice to get to know her and see her in that arena, because I'm exposed to stuff that I'm not exposed to when I'm here. And it was nice to be able to have conversations with her in person and to really talk to her, even though we didn't really get to spend so much time by ourselves, just the two of us, which I'm not mad at. I like having other people around, but you ain't gonna say everything around everybody. So there was only some times that we could just be us, just talk like we're just us. But it was really great. It was nice being around her family. They welcomed me in with open arms. Something else that was kind of hard was the food was spicy. I mean, my friends here, they cook for me, but it's not the same. I went over there the first night, just context. I have GERD, and GERD it's like the lining in your esophagus will get inflamed if you eat stuff that's like really spicy. That's one of the side effects of GERD. I also have to stay away from tomatoes and things like citrus fruits, so oranges. You just gotta like be very wary of what you're eating, and I forgot to tell her this. So the first night I was eating, I think it was goat. I feel like they made rice and goat. It was spicy. It was good. So I ate it. And at a certain point I had to stop because I was literally sweating bullets. Like, it looked like somebody had came and poured water down my face, because it was just, I was so hot internally. And it really didn't kick in. It didn't start to hurt until I was like halfway through. And then I realized, like, I should probably stop eating this. And her family were so supportive. I ended up eating fried eggs most of the time because I couldn't eat anything. So the first night, they learned that I had GERD. And, I'd never been there before, so I didn't know to tell them. And I didn't think it was going to be that spicy either. So it was just a big miscommunication. It's definitely on my part. I have to get used to this life of having GERD so that I can tell people, hey, I can't eat these things, especially if they're going to be feeding me, because I usually feed myself. So I think that was another thing that I didn't take into consideration before I got there, is that you feed yourself. These people are feeding you, so you need to tell them what your dietary restrictions are. I will learn, and one day it'll get better. So the first day, it sucked because I really wanted to eat it. It was really good, but it was too spicy. So they made fried eggs. Second day, Nancy, Moses' niece, she cooked a lot for me. And so she cooked the second day. Sia told her, like, hey, it can't be too spicy. It can't have too much pepper in there. And she was like, okay. She made the dish, but she didn't understand. She's not saying it can't be as spicy as you're used to. She's saying no spice at all. So I started eating it, and again, I was like, this is too spicy. It's too spicy. It's too spicy. But it was good, so I ate a little bit of it, and I was like, hey, friend, I can't finish this. I was still recovering from the first day. And I was like, I can't do this to my body. And she was like, is it too hot? And I was like, I think it is. And so I was sweating again, but not as bad as the first day. I wiped myself up. I got something to drink. I tried to calm down. I tried it again, and it for sure was the food. It was too spicy. And Sia, she was like, so her and Nancy were talking, and I was like, she thought that it wasn't going to be that bad, huh? And she was like, yeah, no, I had to tell her, like, no spice. And then I turned to Nancy, because Nancy does speak a little bit of English. I was like, girl, it's like how the white people can't have nothing spicy. I got to eat it like that. And she was like, oh. I was like, yeah, girl, it's not good. That sucked because it was so good. So the first night it was goat and rice with, like, this kind of, like, not gravy, but just, like, the sauce. And it was the sauce that was really spicy. The second night, I think it was lamb, if I'm not mistaken. No, they made seafood for me because I told them I like fish. So they made fish and rice. Again, it was too spicy. I think her dad had shrimp. And so I ate one of the shrimp or whatever. But the third night, her mom wanted to surprise me, so she made a goat again. And it was so good, bro. And I was so mad because I couldn't eat it. It was so good, but it was spicy. And I tried to suffer my way through that. But I knew that I was going to be really mad because I had to go home after this. And my flight was ridiculous. I was like, I need to really try to, I need to get through whatever I'm doing. I need to, take my medicine. And that's the thing. I forgot my probiotic medicine. If I had been able to take my probiotic medicine, it would have been fine. But I left them here. And so I just really couldn't do it to myself. The food was great. We did eat out a couple of times. We went out to eat, and what did I have? I can't remember. We did their version of fast food, like how there's American fast food. there's like Leone fast food. It was pretty good. Oh, we had shawarma. I wanted chicken, but they pre-made the chicken and they made it with peppers in it, and so I couldn't eat it. So I ended up getting beef, but it was cool. It was fine. Oh, plantains. So I had plantains, and I like mine like thin and crispy on the outside. They cut them bigger there and not crispy on the outside. So it was cool though. It's still plantains and I'll still eat them. But I ate a lot of fried egg, and now I know how to fry an egg, and so now I'm gonna fry an egg now. I'm gonna eat fried eggs for the rest of my life because it was really good, and they made them with onions, and I don't usually like onions, but you know, Nancy can cook, so it is what it is. Just that I had a great time. I was really grateful to spend time with my friend and get to meet her family, and they were so gracious. Like, every time I met someone, they was like, welcome, like, you are welcome, like, come, thank you for being here. And me and Moses, we had a lot of conversations. Sia was like, I'm really surprised because he don't really take to people like this. And I joked with her. I was like, because I'm a personable person. She was like, I think you made him really feel really comfortable. I was like, yeah, and I would hope that he's comfortable in his own home. She was like, nah, but we've had visitors before. And I think that was another reason why they just appreciated me being there, because they were like, we've had visitors before, family that has moved to the United States. We've had people who are from Sierra Leone, moved to the United States and came back to visit, and they're very pompous, like better, and they expect the best, or they complain about the food, or they want it a certain way, or they, you know, they just did a lot of like wanting things to be very particular, or they couldn't handle anything, because every time something would happen, they would be like, oh, we're sorry. I would be like, it is what it is, bro. This is traveling, experiencing new things. This is not your house. And a lot of people, and this is what kills me, and I be dragging Americans, but this is what it's like being an American that is like open-minded. A lot of y'all should not be going to these other places, because a lot of y'all will show up and will ask for certain things, or at least not be open-minded to something new. It might be just me that I've had the privilege to go places and the privilege to be open to new things and to be like humble about it. But some of y'all say that y'all want to go and say that y'all want to visit these places, but y'all ain't really ready for that. And so for me, I had explained to Sia, I think I needed to experience studying abroad first before coming here. I needed to experience living in another country that was not really close to my own. How I explained it was like, here's the United States. London and the United States, our lifestyles are kind of like this. Yeah, the foods are different, the culture is different, but it's pretty parallel. We speak English, the way that the country is run is sort of similar, which makes sense because according to them, we're traders. So London and the United States is like this. Very easy to move to London as an American. Then you have Spain, which is kind of like this. It's a different language, that's the national language. The foods are kind of similar, but still different. The culture, different. Like going to school is different. Even driving is a little bit different. It's still kind of relatively close, but not really close. So it's not like London that's like this. Spain is a little bit like this. And then Sierra Leone is like this. Like, Sierra Leone is like this. The driving is different. The people speak another language, 2 different other languages. They can speak English, but a lot of times I need to see it to translate. The lifestyle is different. The cultural expectations are different. I was telling Sia, I had to experience traveling to these different places that were like this to the United States and like this in order to be open-minded enough to really enjoy this. Because there was a lot of stuff that was different. The mosquitoes, how we showered and stuff like that. I forgot to talk about the tap. So how in the United States, we got water flowing from the tap. There's like 4 or 5 different faucets in this apartment. I just turn it on and that shit works. I turn it on and water comes out. And a lot of us take that for granted. I am one of those people that do my best to conserve water. And I still didn't realize how much water I was using until I went to Sierra Leone and ain't no tap but for 2 days. So on Tuesdays and Saturdays, the tap will open. And so people have to like get their water that they're going to use for the next few days and make that shit last. I've never been in that experience before. When we didn't have electricity, so like when something happened and maybe it was a big storm or something like that and the power went out and the power come back on, you know it does. So you take that for granted too. We'll complain about our phones not being charged. These people They have to like hope they have enough wattage for their phones to charge. They have to hope that the water that they saved for the few days that they're going to need it will last. Especially living in a household where there's like, you know, already 5 people. Then you got an extra person, me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just got real hyped. But I think what it was just that, like, I hate that there are people that will leave the United States that say that they want to travel, that say they want to see the world, and they leave the United States and they're not open-minded about what they're going to experience. Then just stay here. You know what I'm saying? Then don't go nowhere. Because what it really is you say that you want to have that experience, but you're really not open to what you will experience there. The negative parts of it are the parts that you're not used to. And if you express that, that's offensive. And that makes people not like us. And I think it really bothers me because whenever I go somewhere, people will comment and be like, wow, you're really adaptive. Or, oh, this is really great to have you here. Thank you for coming or whatever. We're not used to this. Because it's a lot of y'all Americans that will travel and act the whole fool. Like, come on now. I'm not going to get too much into that because I'll do a whole video about that by itself. But they were very grateful to have me. And I think it's because, in general, I'm a good house guest. But also because whenever something happened that they didn't plan, I was kind of just like, it is what it is. Like, next, like with the whole food thing. I ate fried eggs most of the time. Them shits was good. I wasn't mad. I mean, I was mad that I couldn't eat what I originally wanted to eat. But at least I got to taste that shit. And I was over it. When the lights would go out, I would pull out my phone and turn my flashlight on. Like, I seen them do it once. So every time the lights went out, I just found my phone, turn the flashlight on. When I got bit up by the mosquitoes, they felt really bad. And I was like, I get bit by mosquitoes at home. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be gracious. And you got to be grateful that you even had the like privilege to have this experience. You know how many fucking people have traveled as much as I've traveled? So I have to enter a space and be grateful. Lead with gratefulness. All that to say, I'm super, super, super grateful to have been able to experience that with my friend and got to meet her family and see her world and see how it is over there. She was telling me about how people from other countries, developed countries, will come and get hired and work, get paid in their own currency. So, like, for example, she was like, you would fare really well here because you're an American, you're well-cultured, well-traveled, and that means a lot here because it means you have a lot of ideas that you could bring to kind of help build up the country. So you're an American, you would get paid in USD, you could work for whatever sector you work in because we need all sectors here. If you've never tried to live in another country, pretty much how they work it is if you have a skill set that they don't have in their own country, you're a highly valued, highly skilled person. It is valuable there. So they'll be like, come. So when I tried to move to London, when I got out of grad school, I was not considered highly skilled because they have people who work in higher education over there. So they didn't really need me. But Sia was telling me, like, you could literally do the job that you're doing now. You could go to Sierra Leone because they need people like you who have been to other places, other parts of the world. You speak another language, so that would be super helpful because I speak Spanish. Even though I don't know what the fuck Spanish is going to do over there. But anyway, you could get paid in your currency. You would live in a really nice place. Sia and her family are considered middle class. And she was like, and I know that's not the same kind of caliber that you used to living in, which it wasn't. And she knew that because she spent 7 years in the United States. She was saying the place that you would live in, they would make sure it was like top tier. It would be close to what you're used to. And you would be making so much money. You would be considered rich in this country. So you would fare really well in a country like this. I was like, oh, that's something for me to think about. Now, I don't know if I'm going to, jump into that. Because, I still got 3 years on this contract. I'm going to figure it out and see what I'm open to. But she was like, there are jobs on the internet right now in Sierra Leone that people can apply to and stuff like that. The climate in Sierra Leone ain't really for me. And I make a big deal about that in the United States, so that would be funny for me to then move to another country and the climate ain't really what I'm checking for. But anyway, all that to say, it was a really great experience and I learned a lot. I came across a lot. I experienced a lot and I was just grateful to even have gone. So I'm going to pause there. This is part 3 for my Sierra Leone experience. If you haven't seen part 1, part 2, please check those out. Otherwise, these are not going to make sense to you. I mean, and it might, but there are some parts that I mentioned about what I talked about previously that might be on another video. So please go check those out. I've also talked about my study abroad experience, and that's how I got started in all of this and traveling and stuff like this. I also talked about other experiences I've had, stories and stuff that I came across that I experienced while I was abroad that I want to tell people about. I talked about my host parents, my host sister, just everything. So please go check out those other videos. Follow me on Instagram at Leone Travels. Yeah, thanks for watching.